Prize Picks is the most fun that I've had playing daily fantasy sports this season. The best part about it is it's available in 30 plus states, including California, Georgia, Oklahoma, Florida, and Texas. And they got a great promo going. Sign up using our code UNFAIR and get $50 bonus when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even have to win that lineup. You just got to play it and you'll get the $50 bonus guaranteed. So they make it simple to play. Check them out. Link in the description below. Check out Prize Picks, Daily Fantasy Sports, made easy. Another Sunday and another unfortunate L. We're going to talk about that and more here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. We got special guest Jason. I'm Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Just give us 5 anyway and gift it. So on today's episode of the Sooner or Later Sports Show, we got a few good things to talk about. Kind of like we'll talk about the Ole Miss game, and I'm gonna tell y'all about my my tour around the Grove. Then me and Jason to break down thoughts on offense and defense and what we need to do to go forward. So, Jason, thanks for pulling up. Coop was not feeling well. Jason came in to join us. How's it going, my man?
Hey man, it's always good to jump on with you, man. I was excited to get a chance to come on. Sorry, Coop ain't feeling good, but you know.
I know it's been a bit. We've been need to get you back on, man. I've been slacking on my hitting people up. I just more so just riding off the seat of my pants because I've been too lazy to actually make a plan. But hey,
all good.
We're gonna start working on the collaborations a lot more. We may have one more join us in a minute. But hey, man, of course we gotta talk about the game. We've got to talk about. First, I want to open up and talk about the Grove. What's good, everybody? Thank y'all for pulling up. Go ahead and hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe. We'll wait for the next person to join if he's able to get in here. In your DM. But I went out there to Oxford. I went to check out the game myself. Decided to splurge, saved up, said this is the game I'm gonna go to on the road. And ladies and gentlemen, I went. Jason. So you've heard the legends of the Grove, right? Have you been?
I have not been to the Grove, man. I was really hoping to get out there this year, but then
right. So many people have talked about the Grove and they've talked about all of the allure of it. And I'm going to tell you right now, everything you've heard is true. It is the wildest tailgate I have ever been into in my life. And I'm telling y'all this because, like, when you get there, you got the big stadium, Vaught Hemingway. I think it's probably like 60-something thousand, so it's not huge. But it's a nice size one, right?
Yeah.
And so I walked up there and I saw my guy, Gridiron Insight. What's going on, Mr. Dent? Saw him and I was like, because he's in Mississippi.
Big Marcus.
And I hit him up. Man. Yeah. And I said, hey, I need to see the Grove. He's like, all right, this is what you do. Go down to the other side, north side of the stadium, and just keep walking. Don't worry. You will see it. All right. All right. Cool. Well, sure. All right. I get it. Everybody's going to hype. From Mississippi, I get it. Got to hype it. Man, when I saw them tents, Jason, they did not stop. I swear to you, I felt like I was at a swap meet.
Yeah.
I felt like I was at, like the swap meets, how they have all the tables and stuff, and there's so many people just move. That's what it was like.
Trying to pull you in and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Like it was just, because supposedly it's 4 to 6 acres, and it's just all tents. Now, I've also been to Tuscaloosa. Bama does it pretty good too. There's about 2 acres of tents, right? Now, this is like at least twice as big. They do this stuff real.
This is what they do. This is what they do well. Yeah.
We need to figure this out here. Sooner Nation, University of Oklahoma, Sooner Athletics. We need to figure out this ourselves. because it's hands down the coolest experience I've ever had in my life.
Mm-hmm.
The people were nice. They were pulling you in. They saw you in your Sooner gear. They trying to pull you in to like get you to get some drink, get some food.
Yeah, trying to get
They
you
had vittles. Hey, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, Sooner fan, come on over here. And it was funny because they had interacted with a lot of Sooner fans.
Yeah.
And they talked about, man, hey, y'all have been amazing. And y'all travel a lot. There's a ton of you here. I was like, yeah, we do.
We were winning.
And we're not even winning. We suck right now, and we're traveling everywhere. And that's the thing I think was impressive the most is that y'all are kind of struggling, but y'all are here. Like, y'all are here in droves. Mm-hmm. We were amazed at how much Crimson is walking around. And I was like, thank you. We try to travel well. So, Sooner Nation, I'm going to give it to you all. You did a fantastic job of showing up and showing out. Now, the team gave y'all the first half. Much more out of that. We're going to break that down. We're going to talk about it. Don't worry. Hey, everybody in the chat. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about all of that. Furry Murray, yeah, I've been to LSU's. It ain't got nothing on Oxford, on the Grove. It ain't got nothing on the Grove. At all. Tuscaloosa ain't got nothing on the Grove. LSU, and they tailgate at LSU. They ain't got nothing on the Grove. Nayland, Tennessee, they ain't got nothing on the Grove, and they tailgate too.
It's on the inside of the stadiums that these places are rocking and rolling then, in other words.
Yep.
Okay.
It's the outside, the Grove, masterful. And I've been to LSU multiple times. It ain't got nothing on the Grove. I was in shock.
Yeah, LSU.
When I walked through there. And LSU's a trip. It's fun too. But no, I think it's more so because the Grove is so organized. It's amazing how organized it is. So,
yeah,
want to talk about that because I thought it was fun. It was a great environment to go to. If you can get there go ahead and start saving now. We'll probably play there again in 5 years, 3 years, in 3 years, 3 years. Because next year they come here. The 2 years after that, we'll have. I think they're gonna flip us and give us the other schedule. And then I think if we go to 9 games.
Is it going to be that long before they go to 9 games, you think?
Possibly. Because I think, honestly, I think the negotiations right now is around if they're going to do the Super League stuff or not.
Well, yeah, because they're definitely trying to figure out whether or not. I think you want to see how many you get in from the Big Ten and the SEC because they don't know that going to 9 games is going to benefit the big boys when you're already playing tough opponents all the time. So I think that's the big thing. I know Texas fans, Oklahoma fans, we're ready to go to 9 so that you can play everybody, but
we're used to it.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we did it in the Big 12 for all those years. And yeah, they'll keep the 2 rivalry games as well. Like you'll have locked games that you're not going to lose.
3 rivalry games every year if you go to 9.
Yeah, it'd be like 2 or 3. If they go to 9, it'll be 3. If they stick at 8, it'll probably be just 2, but they're going to keep the rivalries in there. That's the goal, is to keep traditions going while at the same time.
Yeah.
They want to get everybody to be able to play each other. I'm hoping our non-con schedules, that's the only thing I like about the Super League, the idea, is the non-cons will probably be a lot more, you'll be playing a lot of big boys in other conferences that help measure up, right? Can help you measure up even as you prepare for your conference. So, I digress on that. Oxford's legit. Just know that everybody's figured that out one day. Go out there to the Hottie Toddy. It's worth it. It's just worth being there. It's worth being there. It's all I got to say. It's worth. And when they wear their powder blues, it looks just beautiful in the stadium. I was impressed. So with that, Jason, let's talk some ball. I know everybody's in here. Everybody see my shirt. BV, we trust. I still trust in BV. And I say that because they didn't hire him to be the quick fix, right? The 1 year he had a mostly healthy squad, we went 10-3. And in those 2 games in the season, we lost Stutzman. So you lost the anchor to your defense that you were rebuilding.
Right.
We haven't really seen fully healthy, unfortunately, for BV from losing your quarterback and by the time you were able to get your quarterback, the portal was basically, kind of closed. You didn't have many options. You were scraping at the bottom of the barrel quarterbacks. And that was more so Caleb waited till the last minute to make a decision.
Telling Dylan Gabriel that he had the job and there wouldn't be a competition didn't exactly help either. Bring some guys in there with you. Yeah.
So that one hurt. And then of course, not last season was solid. This year we've just been living in offensive injury purgatory. Now losing Gentry does hurt, you can tell. Same thing with losing Kendall Dobie, which man, that hurts. That still hurts my soul.
Me too.
That we ain't got Kendall Dobie, man. That's the one player that I was hoping would at least be around, but that's a big one. All right, we got our next person in here. We got Chris. What's going on, man? Horns Down Podcast. Thank you for pulling up. Good, we're about to start talking about. We were just talking about the Oxford. Talked about the Grove. I was out there. You need to go find a way. It's worth it. It's worth it in every capacity. But we're going to talk ball, man. So first, before we do that, thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button, new to the channel, subscribe. Jason, let the people know where to find you. They should know. You still got a toothbrush here, but let the people know. Yeah. And then Chris do the same.
Hall of Fame College Football. It's at HOF-CFB right here on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter sometimes at JW_HOF also.
Hey, you already know Horns Down Podcast. Check us out on YouTube for sure. You'll see these guys there an awful lot as well. Family show, cool show. We talk a little noise, a lot of noise about Texas.
Actually, a lot of noise. You talk a lot of noise.
But hey man, look, we pump out some content, so definitely come out there and check us out, like, subscribe, and do all that.
Exactly. We appreciate that. And I appreciate him coming on. Coop, like I said, mentioned at the beginning, was not feeling well, so he couldn't pull up today. But we're going to talk about this game, man. First, let's lead off with this. First half, we're going to talk about the good. Because damn, that was a good first half. I'm not going to lie. That was exceeded more of my expectations. And I see some of the questions here. My guy Truth, my resident Texas fan, was good. Truth, you asked a question about BB. Don't worry. We're going to talk about the offensive staff members as we go. We will. But that first half, when I watched the way it played out, as the memes were flying online, JJF, my apologies, I was not familiar with your game. That's literally all you saw flying. Because it was called well. You saw the confidence in Jackson Arnold. Yeah. You saw even though he got, I think in 76 plays, I saw the tweet went out via PFF. With the first 76 plays, we allowed 1 sack. So as bad as we complained about the offensive line, they weren't really giving up sacks like that. It was actually pretty solid. And it was still banged up. We still saw a lot of injuries. But overall, you saw Barnes running hard. You saw movement. The defense, besides that first possession, which I heard that we had communication problems. The headsets were broken or something like that. That sucks. Yeah.
That I didn't hear.
Yeah, that's what I've been seeing all over places. That I think they said that on the broadcast, is that the headsets were out in the first possession. We looked way more competent in the first half than we looked the entire season. Then what happened? Sexton gets hurt. And then everything fell back to shit. First half, though. Talk to me, Jason. How did you feel about that first half, especially on offense? How did that make you feel?
Yeah, well, it looked good that they had a plan. That there was something brewing there. You could tell that they were stacking plays off of each other. It looked very similar to what you saw with Levy a lot of times over the last couple of years. So they had a true goal, what they were headed towards. I think that overall the calls seemed to be the right way, and they were doing things to keep Jackson from getting punished. They ran the ball pretty effectively. I liked seeing them run more of that outside zone look that they had. Just looked like they were a little more decisive, right? A little more decisive. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that was, there's some indecisive things that I saw going on the rest of the game. We'll talk about that obviously in a minute. But overall, I guess it's what we probably should have expected from JJF. Because what else does he know? that's the offense that he's kind of been cutting his teeth in for a while now, working with Lane and Levy, obviously. So I think it was the right move, but I was happy about the offense. It was good to see that. I think that they probably could have put up some more points, and they probably should have taken the points on the first drive.
Yeah.
A couple of things you really wish they would have done, but I don't care if you're going to be aggressive. That's cool. And to be fair, that first touchdown should have been a touchdown, not a field goal, because Bauer just dropped that ball. It was in his breadbasket. You got to catch it. So
it really was. The good thing is that he got him in the back of the end zone with a little lob catch, and he brought it in, and boom.
Yeah, on that next one. But I was talking about that very first drive.
Yeah, first one.
Take a lead, or tie the game anyway. They gave up that touchdown on the first one, but you're going to go down and tie it right there. It would have been. It's just important to go ahead and try to capitalize as little as we've been in scoring range the last month or so.
No, you're right.
You hate seeing them leave points on the board,
Yeah. You can't leave those points on the field. You need to take them, especially with how few that we're getting our hands on right now. Chris, how'd you feel about that offense, and what jumped out to you in that first half?
I think Jason asked the question earlier this week when we did a pod as far as what do you want to see from the offense, what are the top three things. And I think one of the things that I named was a heavy script for Jackson Arnold, basically seeing him be able to go out there and, as you heard the announcers or the commentators or whatever, what they said, and then what I think we obviously knew. Let's go find the best plays for Jackson. Let's go find the plays he's the most comfortable with. You saw him comfortable in the pocket. You saw him reading, trying to go through progressions, right? You saw the confidence. You saw check downs, right? Biggest thing for me was just the simple fact that you simplified the offense almost, where things were going north-south, and when you weren't running screens, it was still more north-south than it was anything east-west, right? Biggest thing to me, like I said for the longest, and I still say this, not everybody's not talking about this underlying theme of that offense prior to that first half that we saw yesterday. The fact of the matter is that you have your top 5 wide receivers out. You know that your offensive line has been bummy and injury prone, right?
Yeah,
you know that has the injury bug has bitten this team on defense and offense. I think the simple fact of the matter is that Seth Luttrell, with him, it felt like, hey, even with the guys that we have, the Carions, the Kearneys, the Raggans. Now you got Jacob Jordan in that mix, Petaway. You can't go out there and run competent offense. You can't run a simple offense, maybe even just a basic install where you're just trying to get guys loose, right?
Right.
Narrow down the playbook to 9, 10, 11 plays or whatnot. Don't go out there and run some complicated scheme or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter who is at quarterback. They need help. You got to be able to scheme some guys open. So I was definitely pleased with that. It just felt like you saw that first half, to me, spoke not only competent offense, but complementary football. We have that brand of football. We're running that type of offense. We're sitting here, and I think, in the different seats, different temperature, different measuring stick, et cetera, et cetera. So definitely was pleased with what I saw in the first half. It really does look like Jackson Arnold can potentially again be the quarterback of the future here in Norman. So
yeah,
I think it's still a project. I still think it's a wait and see, but I think that yesterday, from what you saw from him and some of the flashes that you've seen from Hawkins, if you could keep those two guys around, that kind of makes you feel like, okay, well, with the new OC that we do bring in, that question of whether or not we should bring in a portal quarterback, that's going to be an interesting question, because I believe that you do have talent in this quarterback room. You just have to get the right coach to be able to bring that, really, really help them realize their full potential. But again, Jackson Arnold, he made me kind of believe that again, seeing that, because that's a good defense. That's a good defense. And Pete Golden didn't come out. I think the first half, like I told you guys from the get-go, that was going to be the battle anyway. JJF versus 4th and Golding, right? What is Pete Golding trying to do? Second half, I think he actually said, I think Kiffin probably went in there and said, hey, what are we doing? Like, dude, let's just run them out. Like, let's adjust and let's run them out. Like, what are we doing? Like tighten up. Stop running loose stuff. Stop being loose with the scheme. We don't have to do anything exotic. Let's just run football, right?
Hey, honestly, what I saw out of that though is as soon as Sexton got hurt, Princely was like, "Go after that dude. He can't handle any of us. Give me him one-on-one. Give me him one-on-one." And that's all they start. They just kept sending Perkins at him the entire game.
No doubt. And I think that definitely hurt him right there, right? Because, and honestly, Sexton played better than you've really seen him play this year. Because
that's
he left a lot to be desired when he was moving in and out. They weren't sure what they were doing with him. I think he had too much in his head or something because yesterday, starting him off there and leaving him there, he was the guy.
Yeah, no, and someone made a good point here just a second ago. Brandon made this really good point about, who was it really? I'm saying that JJF with the play calling, because he knows the terminology. That's why he's the play caller. He knows all the terms, and Johns doesn't. But I think John's working with the quarterbacks and really JJF looked confident out there. He was very decisive. And the one thing I didn't notice,
what was going to get thrown at them a little bit that week.
Right. And it was fascinating. The most to me was, if you notice, as holes were opening, run lanes for him at quarterback, if he couldn't get rid of the ball within that 3-second frame, he was going to those run lanes.
Yes.
Now, granted, Ole Miss didn't play this like Texas did. Texas literally had Anthony Hill find whatever the hole was, and he just fielded. That's literally his entire role on defense, which was very genius to do that against Michael Hawkins. He's probably going to tuck after 2 looks, stay there, stay that direction, and boom, it was perfect. And so Ole Miss didn't do that because I don't think they believe Jackson Arnold's enough of a threat running. Y'all know that he had 100 yards rushing in this game, right? If you take away the sacks. Take away the net number that they do because they, deduct them because of sacks. He had 100 yards rushing in this game.
Yeah.
Right. Chris is like, oh, okay. That's not bad. Dude had 100 yards rushing in this game. So and then as you get to the sacks in the second half, y'all know that we got sacked 6 times in the last 2 possessions.
Yeah. Jay.
It was brutal.
Jay, look, you run the show, but I gotta bag it up. I gotta bag it up to that first half, okay?
Bag it up first half. Keep it up. Yeah.
Jason and I talked about something yesterday, right, on our post game pod, and I said, hey, look, now JJF was perfect up to a point. Why are you running pop passes? Get your quarterback, who's been able to extend plays and run. Give him options. Give him a first option and a second option. Do a sprint play. Do some type of sprint, some type of bootleg. Get him out there where he has probably a guy basically running an orbit route in the end zone. Then you got your running back, or you can have Bauer Sharp, whoever, at that second level to give him options. And guess what? You got blockers in front of him with the running back, the tight end, to give him a chance to go in there and make a 2-yard touchdown. What are we doing? Why are we running pop passes?
And you're right.
Going to work against Houston. That's going to work against Temple. That's not going to work against these teams every single time. And you ran it twice.
Yeah, no, you're right, because in the beginning of the game, you started to see them move the pocket around. Right, you do those sprints, like you said, those sprint outs, those bootlegs, and that's when you start to see the comfort of Jackson Arnold, because he actually throws very well on the run. I don't like running that on the
best. Right, always was best was running, getting out of the pocket, rolling the pocket to one side or the other, and letting him be an athlete.
I don't like the doing it on the short side. Like, I don't want you to throw it to the sideline and have somebody try to extend and do those mad catches. No,
Agreed.
Do it in space. Give me more space. And I think that if we would have leveraged more space, things would have been better. But overall, first half though, man, that is what, if we would have had that all season, we would have a much better outlook this season. Much better outlook. That's all you needed. Even with all the injuries, your quarterback's not getting leveled all the time. That helps. That helps a lot. And then, of course, as Sexton goes down, which sucks, and I'm hoping that it's nothing serious, but I know he was slamming his arm on the ground, and Jackson Arnold looked distressed the minute that he was down there. I was like, uh-oh. You can see it on his face. Everybody in the stadium, we looking at each other like, yeah, I don't think this is a good situation. And you bring in the redshirt freshman. And so, as a lot of people have said, we should play the young guys. You have to understand, every player we have that are recruits are redshirt sophomores and down, except for Sexton and Taylor. They came in the 22 class. Actually, no, that makes them redshirt sophomores. So, yeah, either redshirt sophomores or down with recruits. All of them are young. Your transfers are your veterans, and that's why we had to dig into the portal. It's because we had no more veteran presence. All of our veterans were gone. We had like 5 dudes go league, 4 dudes hit the portal because they weren't going to play. But you're young, and that sucks. That sucks. And then add injuries on top of it. That sucks. So snake bitten, as is mentioned in the chat a lot. We were snake bitten, so
that's what things rear their heads though, is when you've got issues with, if you've got a bunch of issues all together, the big one is going to be decision making. Yes. And there weren't decisions being made that were for the benefit of this offense from day one. So when you have a bunch of injuries to key people, it's going to show up a lot more.
It does. It magnifies everything around it. You're 100% right. And that was why you had to make a offensive coordinator change. You could tell it's just, there was no response. It wasn't working. It looked bad. Just bad. But this game looked good for the first one. And I'm hoping this is something we could build off of. We got Maine this weekend. I'm not going to pretend like that one shouldn't be a good one for us. We've got Maine. Then we travel to Missouri, which to me, Missouri's not looking too good without their quarterback. We'll talk about them later. We'll bash them because when Brady, because I think is Cook hand broken. Somebody said they think his hand's broken.
I thought
he got a messed up ankle.
Was messed up. Yeah, I thought it was ankle.
He hurt his ankle the week before. But this game, somebody was saying they think his hand's broken. I don't know.
There is one fix that you have to make to beat Missouri, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he did injure his hand against Bama. He hurt his ankle the week before. They shot him up, and he went back in the game and won it. Who did they play last week? Was it Vandy? No, it wasn't Vandy.
Oh, it was
Auburn. It was Auburn. Because Auburn cost me money with that mess. But anyway, punks. Makes me mad. Never believe in Auburn. I've learned my lesson on that. Never believe in them. But anyway, he hurts his ankle in that game, comes back late, wins it. Then he hurts his hand against Bama. That's going to be interesting. We'll talk Missouri a little bit later, but before we jump on kind of how the defense played, we got to talk a little bit more about how about the staff, because the question has been popped up in here a lot about the offensive line, about Bill Bedenbaugh. Everybody's asking about this guy. So I'll say this. This is my one take heavy on it, and I'll probably do a long form video on it a little bit later. I blame Brent Venables for the Seth Luttrell hire. He tried to do something, and it just did not work. He should have went ahead and went a little bit over the ledge, said screw the quote-unquote continuity, find somebody that you feel like could have worked closely with your quarterback. Now, granted, we thought, since Luttrell was here for the last season as an analyst, that it should have been a good handover. And obviously, it was not. But I'm glad that they did bring Kevin Johns in, and J.P. Lossman still works with them, and Jack Lowry, who's one of the assistants, works with them. I'm glad we have that. But this is on BV. The only thing good for BV is they're going to give him his 5 years. He's going to get next season. He's going to get the last year after that, and that's it. He's got 2 years to figure out not being competent, but being good. So this is on him. This is his first one. Actually, this is his second one. His first mistake was the Ted Roof situation. But guess what? He fixed that. Zach Alley looks good.
It wasn't. And the thing was they didn't have the players yet. They were still working to get the right guys with the players. I don't think Ted Roof was necessarily the right guy, but I also don't think he was running anything either.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. I think that's where the problem lies. You can't have a dude here that can't run the defense for you and you not be able to focus on everything. That's where the time management piece comes in, calling a proper timeout, BV needs to focus on those things. And having former head coaches was supposed to help you with that, right? That's what Latrell's supposed to be there for because he's a former head coach.
No.
Didn't work out. For defense, he fixed it. Didn't bring Ted Roof back, brought in young Zach Alley, and Zach Alley looks good. And the players love him. That was a redeeming factor. Now he needs to do the same thing on the offensive side because I'm going to tell y'all, so many people, I've been seeing so many people on the Bird app saying they miss Levy. I could have sworn they were the same ones saying Levy got to go. Am I crazy?
I'm one of those people. I'm eating crow on that. And Dylan, I was a bit premature
to say that, and I didn't have to say it for you.
well, I'll say this right here because you look at Levy. Levy's moving the ball on just about everybody. Now he's not winning, but he's moving the ball on a lot of people. Right. And I think that he may have learned his lesson about time management, about not going out there and having 50-second drives. So. Yeah. I mean,
having a mobile quarterback has helped him look more confident.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Van Buren is MVP.
But like I said yesterday, look, I know some people are out, some people are this and that, whatever the case may be. I got all the faith in the world in BV. It's going to take seeing him hire an OC and coming in here and falling on his face yet again, right? After the Seth Luttrell debacle, it's going to take seeing a competent OC. Big name, whatever name, however you want to go about it, it's going to take that to really convince me or show me that, hey, no, I don't necessarily know if this is going to work. Because I feel like that defense, he came in here and did what we thought was going to be impossible and pretty much fixed your defense, right? I think the defensive numbers would be even better right now if we had a better offense. But
that's true.
I still believe in BV. I do.
You got to get the first down, or else you're killing your offense or your defense. I mean, if you're not getting first downs at all, you're killing your defense.
What's crazy too, even say that in this past game, we had 24 total first downs.
Yep.
We got 16 of them in the first half.
Ugh.
I was thoroughly impressed with just the fact of moving the ball, getting that. And I felt like that helped the defense. I mean, we only gave up 10 points in the first half. That's what you want, right? Especially against an SEC team that puts up numbers. This is a team that puts up numbers. They're not one that doesn't. They literally, that's what lane training them typically does.
Yep.
That helps. But
if they lose to Maine, all bets are off. He's gone by the time he's gone by the time he gets to the locker room.
Yep. Yeah, that's very true. And Dave, this is exactly it. Same ones yelling for his job, the same ones say it was a great hire. He was also the same one that people are saying Levy need to be fired, but we were all excited Levy got there and was putting up numbers. It's the complimentary ball is critical, but at the same time, yeah, that's exactly it. And Matt, what's going on, man? Yeah, the roof hire doesn't really move the needle for me as a major mistake, to be honest. There's a lot more things to choose from on the list of things BV hasn't done right. No, I totally agree with you that. I'm looking at more so the hiring aspect because I think with recruiting, recruiting's a little different. And as recruiting is a uphill battle for all coaches. It requires internal compliance and all of that stuff that you have to duke it out with. So there's like levels to that portion of it, but I get what you're saying. I just felt like when it comes to your coaching hires, that one was an issue where we knew it was a glaring issue, and he rectified it. Now he gets to do it again because I thought Levy was the perfect hire for the short-term situation that we were dealing with when he was first brought up here to the team. Right? You're losing all these players. You need to find a quarterback because you don't know if Caleb's going to come back, and Caleb decides not to come back last minute. And so then you're out there in the portal searching for a quarterback, and luckily you get a quarterback that was the former quarterback for the OC. It helped. So we lucked out in a lot of stuff. We still need more things to go down, but this OC hire is going to be big. But the offensive line, man, look, I have all the trust in the world in Bill Bedenbaugh. I also went back and looked at some of the other recruits that they brought in. Chris, you talked about this a few times. That man was recruiting with one hand behind his back.
Yep.
Jay, can I do a? Oh, go ahead, finish.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead. I'm good.
I
Go
was
ahead.
going to say. So I've been talking about this for the longest. I'm a shout out to this guy. He left this comment on a video of mine a while ago. He said about 6 days ago, JB DY9BL. Shout out to you. But he said our O line depth has been decimated over the last 2 to 3 seasons with the transfers out and early draftees. Beatonbow lost a lot of dudes who should be starting for us and not the teams they are starting for now. So he had to go transfer portal trash players to even fill the roster out this season. Last second, people need to go dump some emotions and pull their heads out of their ass, right?
Out of their keisters.
So I just want to put that out there because I'm gonna ask the chat and I'm gonna obviously ask you guys. Do you guys agree with that comment?
So, well, who's starting at other schools? Is Savion Byrd starting somewhere? Is
I don't
Parks
think
starting somewhere?
Savion Byrd is starting at SMU. I think he's still kind of going through the same mental fog.
What about Parks? Aaron Parks, is he starting in South Carolina?
I don't think so.
What about Bray Walker? Because I'm just naming out the people that the only one that we lost that we all felt like was paying was Caden Green, and he got benched.
Yeah.
So
again,
to me,
I think that Bill Beatonbow missed on these portal guys. He misidentified talent there. We can't even take up for him on that one. Okay. And I'm one of the biggest Bill Beatonbow apologists there is. He missed this one. That doesn't mean that it's his fault on all of this stuff, guys. It doesn't mean that it's his fault on the rest of it. Now, I would people forget this. They also had a damn yoga instructor all up until the last few years. So it takes time when you start losing guys some guys just don't work out, number one. Number two, if you don't have strength, how the hell are you going to do well on the O-line?
No, I get you. And Savion Bird's he's starting to play a little bit more there at SMU now. He's starting to get more snaps.
No, you too.
He's getting more snaps. Yeah, he had his moments here too. No, you're very fair. No lie. You're 100% correct. To me, the slander of Bill Beatonbow, you have to take in context going back and looking at some of the old classes. You got to look at some of the old players that were recruited and that were all built, like you mentioned, for that aesthetic. 22 was
Speed,
Sexton.
not comfort.
20, yeah, right. Sexton and Taylor were your 22 guys. I think they were the only two in that class outside of, I think it was Cullen Montgomery in that class too? I think so. Let me verify. I will tell y'all right now. But 22, you didn't have a lot of guys because the 21 guys transferred out, and you had Wanye Morris transfer in. Anton Harrison was the only one left. Anton Harrison ended up going first round, so he did well there. But most of these dudes, when I'm looking on here on the offensive side, there was no one. Good Lord, Taylor and Sexton were your two linemen in that class. That was it. You brought in transfers, McCabe Matower. You brought in Tyler Guyton. He was defensive lineman at that point. And he transferred him into a first rounder. So coming in, that's what you had starting with that 2022. And then you had all the other dudes from 21 that most of them started transferring out. 23 is probably the first class that Bill Beatonbow actually had was, Cullen Montgomery was 21. That's 4 dudes. You got in 4 dudes in 23. And that's what we're starting to see now. You got Caden Green. You bring in Logan Howland, Joshua Bates, and Heath Uzeda. We saw Uzeda, who's looking pretty solid. Not great, but he's solid for a young guy. He's figuring it out. He's getting his weight up. Bates, okay. Howland's got a lot more work. He hasn't got ready yet, but he's also playing at tackle, and he's a converted tight end. Let me see. Walter Rouse came in that transfer, and Walter Rouse ended up going lead. Troy Everett was a transfer in, and Troy Everett's now the starting center, and he looks good. So you got a lot of young pieces, and then of course, because that class was 4, and then the 24 class had 5 offensive linemen. Mm-hmm. And then this next class will have 4 right now, which we may actually try to go for a 5th. You got Fasusi, Fogier. And as some people have said, Oklahoma's known about coming to the SEC since 21. Why weren't we prepared? We had an entire different staff before that. Did people not realize that the staff that knew about us moving here, as far as leadership goes,
they found out. They found leadership goes as soon as they found out.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that the head coach allocates your scholarships. And in those classes in 19, 20, and 21, we were taking like 17 dudes, 18 dudes.
Hell, sometimes we like 15 with the classes that we were taking. Shout out to our guy Ty Hayes. You guys go around the table sports, but Ty would always say, "Hey, look, OU is bringing in a higher quality player at at each level than most teams, even though they're taking only a few. That's why they're ranked inside the top 10 or right there outside the top 10 in recruiting under Lincoln, right? But Ty also said, hey, pretty much, I mean, yeah, you go get Billy Bowman, but you got to get a couple Billy Bowmans. You can't just go get one, right? You can't just go get one Nick Benito and then that's it, right? So you would go get special players and all the rest of that stuff, but, a lot of those guys just didn't work out with this regime here. But you inherited the sins of your father, and the thing is that you just kind of worked this roster. I think that in hindsight, and Jason, this is where I slept on it, and I do agree with you. BV needs to make some better decisions overall with this program going forward.
Yeah.
And one of those, I think that me and my uncle, we talk about this all the time. I think one thing that BV regrets probably the most, and this is me just putting thoughts and words in his mind and his mouth, I bet you that 22 season coming here, he wouldn't have did it the Clemson way, trying to win with the guys that we had. I think he portal a lot harder than what he did to try to get a couple more guys on top of what he did in here, because I think now he realizes that would have at least kind of gave him some time to kind of set us up for, and maybe go get some kids that maybe had maybe a year or two of eligibility still. You get what I'm saying? Instead of getting some of those 1-year rentals like we did with like Colden and the other kids. So I think that's something in hindsight you got to look at. So there were some missteps that were taken, right? I wouldn't call it true mistakes, but I would say there's some missteps that were had. And so that has kind of shown up ugly in this first inaugural season. And I think the thing that kind of gives you some slight optimism is simply this. It's not necessarily because we're in the SEC. I think a lot of the problems that we have are self-inflicted right now.
Yeah.
So we got to correct that to be able to say, hey, okay, now is it an SEC problem? Did we get in over our head, or is it just still us, right? But right now, I would say we're mostly in our own way.
Yeah, and Bagman said this great. He said he learned from old school guys, Bob, Dabo, and Snyder. He's also a nice guy. He's not cutthroat enough for this business. And I'm going to be honest, you're not wrong. That is actually the one thing that I've been thinking about as of late. That
jumping on this one too.
Yeah. Go ahead. Because I've been thinking about this as well. I'm like, I think the biggest problem for BB, for our guy, BV, is that he's too darn nice sometimes,
and he is not quick to make decisions. Man, he's indecisive. Emblematic of the whole thing. Thinking about going for it, down 2 scores late in the third. You need a timeout to decide to punt.
Yeah, that annoyed me.
I'm not talking about the decision. You want to go for it there. It's probably not the best time to go for that in that situation, being on your own 30. But you're going to need a timeout to make the choice not to do that. If you're going to take a timeout right there, you need to come out with a play and be continuing going down the field.
Yeah. Yeah, make that decision. Yeah, you got to go ahead and just do it. Just rip the Band-Aid and go out there and go for it. Go ahead and drop your nuts and go.
And I don't have a problem with dropping your nuts in situations like that. I'm with you that you can, you don't have to go there. And again, I'm not one of those guys that says you have to go for it all the time either. I think earlier in the game, they should have taken the damn points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I said that when I was saying the same. I was like, those 3 points are going to haunt us later on in this game. And unfortunately,
the whole thing is emblematic of his inability to make a decision in a timely manner, which is the same thing with Seth Luttrell. Why did you wait another couple of weeks when we knew he wasn't the guy?
Yeah, No, I agree. I'm with you on that part. And so that's going to be the indictment on BV to figure it out. But that's the other thing, too. As Bagman mentioned, I mentioned this before on the show. BV's a nice dude. Like, legitimately, everyone loves him. Every parent I've talked to, even for recruits that didn't come here, they're like, it wasn't because of BV. It wasn't because of offer on the table. It wasn't because of that. We just felt like this one's a little bit better for us at the time. But that is the nicest human being I've ever met. And you can tell he genuinely cares. Sometimes that sucks. Because, Chris, you made the perfect point. I've had a few people say this before, and I 100% agree. The one thing that BV is going to regret is not cleaning the house his first year. He was like, no, I'm going to give people a chance. I'm not going to do what Prime did. Nah, you should have did what Prime did.
Sure did what Prime did.
Hindsight 50-50, as Cam Newton would say. His hindsight is 50-50. You think that you should have been like, nah, we're going to have to clean house. And
second year he did. Second year he did. Coming into this year, he did a little bit. And I think this season here, he'll do it even more. And I think he's for some of the missteps that he has made, he's made a lot of progress. And I think one thing, regardless if today was the last day that he was the head coach or 2 years, 3 years, 10 years down the road, I think one thing that we would have to always thank BV for is getting us NIL ready, getting us to the point where we're thinking SEC minded, right? To the point where this program is doing an overhaul and people are trying to write those checks, trying to cash out to try to get the best product there. So, I mean, that's the reason why I say, like, look, I get it. There's some things that come with time. There's some things that have shown up early and often that we don't like. But people, this is what I would say to y'all. You can't tell me that you don't think that a competent defense, a competent OC, a competent offense paired with this defense couldn't go out there and do the same thing that you're seeing. And as I told you guys, you can call the SEC and all the rest of the stuff. There's a lot of teams out there struggling. Jason, we talked about it a few years ago. This was going to be a perfect year for OU, for Texas to be in the SEC. Why? People are starting new quarterbacks. People have new coaches. People have coaches taking over historic programs.
Which one of these coaches, aside from Kirby, has done anything in this league?
That's what I'm saying.
The only one that's gotten close is Brian Kelly, who played in the SEC championship game. That's about it.
Yeah.
And so now it looks like it's going to be between them and A&M and Texas at the end of the season, figuring out who's going to go in Georgia.
And that's the funny thing about it. Going into next year, the narrative is going to be a lot of people are still starting over, right?
Right.
Because Milroe's gone, and you say, okay, well, Ty Simpson, he should step in there and just light it up. I don't know, right? Vandy, who are they returning? Are they going to return the Pavia kid and all the rest of those people that are there? They're probably going to lose a lot. So I mean, it's a lot that's unknown, man. Because we'll stick to this season, but I'm just telling y'all, like the SEC right now, it's not wide open. It's none of that. But I'm just telling you, there is a lot that has happened this year has shown me there's a lot of parity in the SEC right now.
Yeah, it is. It looks like it. I mean,
Texas almost lost to Vandy yesterday. That tells you a lot.
Yeah.
When Vandy has gotten good crazy that fast in the SEC, don't tell me that the SEC is unwinnable.
Yeah, it's extremely competitive, Jason. That top to bottom, it's everybody's balling. And to be honest, the Big Ten is looking a little bit more scary than people want to give credit to.
A&M goes, well, yeah, and think about it. A&M goes from, what are they, 8-5 last year? 7-5?
Yes.
Yeah, 7-5. They beat the crap out of LSU yesterday.
Yeah, and that was
here they are undefeated in the SEC a year after that in 1 year. So you can flip this thing around. It's all with this defense that Oklahoma has, which will be better if you have a competent offense. You're good. You can flip this thing quick. You just have to do it, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to go be aggressive at this point. Moving forward, the nice guy thing to other coaches has to go. You got to continue to be great to recruits, be great human being in general, because we like people with integrity around here. you need to go be aggressive in the portal with some big name portal players. And you also need to be aggressive on the recruiting trail and rebuild this pipeline. I mean, go after some recruits. Go after some recruits that you've been looking for. Chester, thanks for the $2. Fire beating Bo. I don't care what you say. Game pass them by. Yeah, I think that's completely wrong. So I disagree with you there, buddy.
I disagree too.
100% disagree with you there. We'll get Michael Fasusi and Ryan Fogier, which Fogier looks fantastic. Dude, he's already top 10 tackle. So you got 2 top 10 tackles coming in this next cycle, all because of Bill Beatonbow. That's going to change it for everybody. Honestly, you may see Fogier get some rotations early. But I'm hopefully we'll see Isaiah Autry dent in the next couple of games. We're hitting that 4-game mark now where it's time to play those dudes. Because you won't jeopardize their red shirt. To me at Maine, I want to see EPL. I want to see Autry. I want to see some BJ Brooks, right? Shoot, toss me a little Isosa in there if you need to. But I want to see at least those 3. Like, now, play them against Maine. That way we can see what we're going to get moving forward. But Jason, outside of that part of it, what's going on? The running back room, man. Barnes works his butt off.
Yeah,
I got to give him that.
I wish he had a little more vision sometimes, but he was hitting the spots yesterday and running hard. I like watching him play.
Yeah, he's one of the hardest workers. You can tell he runs hard. All you got to do is get that man going, but he runs hard.
He does.
You do that. You get him downhill. And honestly, we talk about his vision. It's funny. He had some nice little steps when he was catching those balls on the check down. Thank God we were checking down very often too. Thank you. I've been calling for that all year.
I was very happy to see some throws out of into the running back coming out of the backfield yesterday.
Yes.
Maybe happier than anything in that first half that you saw a lot where he just turned and tossed it to the side and you're getting 5, 6, 8, 10 yards out of it every time. You should see definitely more of it. I'd love to see more of that kind of stuff. And we've been calling for it forever. So the more you see those kind of things, the better. I just feel like there's a lot of things that the offense wasn't to start the season. And a lot of that adds up to what any deficiencies that the defense has right now. You got to spend some time on the field. You've got to slow them down. It's not just that that they're getting worn out, because I don't think that's always the case. I think some of it is that the defense starts feeling like they got to do too much. They got to do more. They got to go in there and get a pick six. So they try to take away one that maybe you shouldn't gamble there. You see Billy Bowman gamble a lot. It works for him sometimes, but there's certain times that you don't want him doing that. And I think that's all a byproduct of what happens on the offensive side if it's not working out well. We're not used to seeing that at OU. We're not used to seeing that.
Right.
But
we're not. And I don't know. I mean, I get the frustration that everybody has. I now get to see his actual classes that he's tried to build for the SEC get to now play. I look at all of that differently in comparison. I don't look at it the same as before, right? I don't look at it last time. Like a lot of people are looking at, I'm looking at. That's the thing that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the big picture here, and I know that we've got some dudes that are growing up. I was hoping that the transfer would be able to come in and be a nice little bandage for the young guys, so that we can start rotating them in and getting them some play. Didn't work out. Couldn't keep anybody healthy. Happens. Fortunately. But again, I disagree on the idea of firing Beatonbow. As our resident Texas fan here keeps saying, please go ahead and fire him. They want that to happen because they will try to swoop him up quick.
Rare that I agree with frightening truth.
They will try to swoop him up, which I get. So, but anyway, Chris, talk to me about no, I don't know what happened, Chris. You went black, and then it just. I was like, I'll bring him back in when he comes back. But anyway, running backs though. We were talking about Barnes and how nice he looked catching the ball out the backfield, and he was cutting on people.
Oh yeah, no,
That
that was one of the better games that he's had in a while. The skill set, that the flashes that we saw in his freshman year, it's back, right? Want to see him have maybe just a tad bit more wiggle, but I mean, I thought the kid was running hard. I think he made a couple of he made something out of nothing a couple of times, where I was like, oh, that stretch play, that little HB toss, that's not going to work, and then there he goes for another 5-6 yards.
Yep.
He was able to help us move the chains to stay out of 3rd and longs. He helped us an awful lot. It's on us to really, really work on that. That's something I want to see in this main game. Try to get in the rhythm of really converting those 3rd downs and kind of working on efficiency on that. But I thought that he was really good in his space. He gave Jackson Arnold just really a safety valve, right? One other thing that I would say, gotta hang on to the ball, but that run that led to that and it ultimately was a fumble by Tatum. That was, if not the most explosive run play I've seen all year from one of our running backs. He found a hole, and he hit that, and I was like, "That's our guy." That's our guy.
He's the future.
Got to hold on to the ball. We definitely got to get the pass blocking better for him. But when I saw that, I said, that's our guy. Like Sam Franklin, all the rest of that stuff, play Hicks. Got to play Hicks.
I'm trying to figure out why we're not playing Hicks.
Yeah,
I really don't understand that.
You got to play Hicks. Hicks is kind of do it all, right? Right now, I think those would be my top 3 running backs right now. If I was running out there, I think Hicks can kind of give you the best of both worlds between your bruiser, who would be Javonte, and then kind of just your scat back, finesse back with Tatum at this point in his career. So I think he's kind of the tweener in between those. So I was pleasantly surprised the way we were able to run the ball, but I think we've all been screaming for it early in the season. Run off the tackle. Stop doing this whole inside run game, all the rest of that stuff. You're not going to be able to do any of that until probably next year, hopefully, when everything gels better. But for right now, we're running off the tackles really, really well. And that's the reason why I was saying, Jay, like, get these guys out in space, give them a chance, opposed to trying to run a pop pass or run something that's so compact over the middle. Yep. Unless Barrett Sharp is thrown open or he's just open, I like him when he catches the ball and he's in space. He's faster than what he looks when he's running, but I don't like Barrett Sharp going and trying to make a competitive grab. I don't like that whenever he's having to really go through the trash and try to make a contested catch. I don't like that, right? So that's why I'm saying get them out in space. But you saw a lot of that, which I really liked it. But I thought Bournes ran really hard. Thought Tatum, for what it's worth, thought he looked good. At times he was able to run the ball as well and show some power. Just got to keep churning, man.
No, I agree. Jason, defensive line. We started to see some pressure go. We started to see some movement. Little Caden Woodley got his first sack of his career.
Yeah, man.
How'd you feel about the way the defense was running on the rush in that game?
Look, nobody stops this team like that. When's the last time that you saw somebody get Ole Miss to like be real bad? The Kentucky game. This is the last time that you really saw it. Then it was 27-24 in the LSU game, something like that?
Yep. I
want to say that's right. All right. They were getting after Jackson Dart in a way that they're not used to really having them do that. So I think we've got the best defensive line probably in the SEC from left to right, because then everything that you're getting from Jaden Jackson, which is huge as a freshman kid, to get guys like Woolard coming in, he's been waiting to get that sack for a while now. He's been so close on, throughout these games. He looked like that one game against Tennessee. He was all over. Hush, Norman, relax.
Norman understands.
Yeah, he's pissed off too. Yeah.
See? But no, it's Yeah. Continue.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that's the big thing. They've been doing really well on the D-line. That was the big reason that you brought Brent Venables in, was so that they could get – you keep talking about SEC ready. Everybody keeps talking about SEC ready, SEC ready. The SEC ready part is in the trenches. They've done it in the trenches. Now the offensive line, with all the injuries and everything that's been going on, it's not good this year. I don't think it's very far away from being good. Guys like Isaiah Autry-Dent coming next year, you're gonna see a lot more of EPL next year. You've got Fasusi and Foje coming. But right now, they are dominant on the D-line. That's kept us in every football game, aside from, obviously the South Carolina game was an anomaly. You can't go down 21-0 in 5 minutes and expect to be in that game.
Right. And the way the defensive line has played overall, it still feels like the team just kind of gets into a shell whenever they realize, the offense ain't going to be able to do nothing. It's like they're done. They're cooked.
Yeah.
Right.
But the edge play, you say you need better edge play Sooner Cowboys, but it's been really good. They're getting to guys.
They're getting sacks. I mean, we're fourth in the country in sacks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You yesterday really boiled down to the fact that they were picking up easy yardage and first downs over the middle, and then they were scoring touchdowns really off of kind of some of those chalk plays with we'll talk about our corners, yeah. Right. But D line wise or whatnot, the only thing that I would say is that however many sacks that we had yesterday, we should have doubled that. Maybe even triple that, because there was a bunch.
We only had one sack. We only had one sack in the game. We had a lot of pressure. I think we had 15 total pressures.
We had a lot of pressures, a lot of hurries. That
4 hits.
Yeah,
10 hurries. Yeah.
Jackson Dart was definitely uncomfortable an awful lot. That pocket was getting blown up a bunch. Wooler was having himself a day. He was getting a lot of hurries. Would have loved for him to have had at least maybe 1 or 2 more sacks, and it's been showing all year. Like, what is his eligibility? Does he have a chance to? Is this it?
This is his last year. This is it.
I think the guy will be able to. I think he does make the league, all the rest of that stuff, but man, the production, I think he gets
the invite. Yeah,
the numbers, man, the numbers will evade him. Have evaded him, excuse me. But what I would say is you could put on tape and say, hey man, this guy, he just that much more strain, effort, whatever is the adjective you want to use or whatever. But man, that much more, like, and you're there. But yeah, yesterday, man, I thought the D line was good for the most part. I just think that there was some, when we fell back in zone, there was still just some holes right there, and then, for whatever it's worth, man, DB play.
No, I get you there. It going into the linebackers and DBs. Linebackers were okay in this game. We lost Chris again. You still there, Chris?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you went mute and black, but I think the linebackers were okay. They weren't good. They weren't great. They were okay. I mean, Danny did good on the run stopping. But overall, man, the linebackers, like, they were all over the place. To me, McCullough did pretty good. He seemed to be in a lot of stuff. And then you see Ethan Downs go down, which that sucks.
Yeah. And
another guy goes down. Yay.
Ethan is a monster, though, right? I mean, I got to say this. That was one of the worst takes I had, was that first year when we were kind of be like, yeah, we need to move him in. He's never going to be very good on the edge. Yeah, well, wrong. Wrong.
He's setting a lot of us up on that one.
That dude, man. He's been that dude. And to be there, and he doesn't get a ton of sacks. He's never been that fast. And I think that's what me and Chris were talking about when we were saying that, was like, man, we need to get home and get some sacks every once in a while. But when it comes to shutting down a run play and not getting blown off the ball, that you just don't see him do that. So that's one of the things that I've really been happy with what Ethan Down looks like. It does suck that he's hurt. But the beauty of this D-line is that the depth is there at every position. So
no, you're right.
You see more and more of it.
And that's what's going to be important. We need to start again. Go ahead and start getting the young guys reps. See if we can leverage them to get some wins. I love seeing Eli Bowen out there at corner, dude.
Eli is a bad dude, man.
I'm sorry, I was not familiar with your game.
I'm getting tired of seeing Kanai not get his head around on the football, and then
hell, not even that, getting beat on double moves and stuff like that, man. It's like I said from the get go. Jay knows this for sure. I've said it a couple of times with me on different shows that we've been on together.
Yep.
Kanai is talented, but he's definitely frustrating simply because as the game goes on, if you go back to that Kansas game last year, there was a touchdown on him. If you go back, to the Tulane game, I think one of the touchdowns they scored was on him. Yeah, he gets lazy with his technique. He gets really, really lazy with his technique. Has the physical intangibles, the height, the athleticism, all the rest of that. But if you know that you're not going to have help on top of you, right? If you know that safety is not going to be there, assignment friendly football, whatever the case may be, you got to understand, hey, look, I'm gonna be very physical with this guy. At the very least, get a flag, do something. Yeah. But you're getting beat, and you're getting beat on like they're gonna be eyeing you. I bet you this main game they're gonna be trying him an awful lot. I bet you they're gonna be doing every type of move, dancing out there. It's gonna look like 7-on-7 in Cali. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna look like a 7-on-7.
Right. Well, we were seeing some Jacoby as well. Jacoby's played corner. He's been out there.
And
he's playing. And
whatever's going on with Makari, they need to get his ass out there too. I know he didn't look great against Texas. He hadn't been he'd been hurt or in the doghouse for whatever thing. You got to get him in and let these guys start playing.
We're going to go ahead and just start getting these people some experience. Mm-hmm. Start pushing forward.
If you're keeping them around, you do. Why is Jacoby not getting in there more?
Yeah, Jacoby, I think he didn't play a lot of snaps. He played 6 snaps in this game, and he was decent. I remember seeing his jersey go out there. Eli was playing the most.
Oh, Eli's a bad dude, man.
He's tough. He's just tough and scrappy, and he does well when he goes to tackle people.
He's going to be.
We're going to have to do it.
He's going to be in your hip pocket no matter what.
Yeah, he is. You got to go ahead and start playing. Dez was good in tackling, but he got cooked on a couple of plays, especially in zone. He kept play. They kept. You could tell that the corners was trying to watch Dart and keep him from running. And to me, it's like, no, that's the linebacker's job. Drop back in your zone. If you see a dude running past you, you follow them, and watch out for that little pocket that Lane Kiffin is very good at finding. Don't put yourself in that situation. So we've got to do better when it comes to that. I think the defense, at this point, Maine's not a concern. Maine is now a game for us to watch to kind of get an idea of what things look like. But I think long-term, our corner position is going to look a lot better. Like, again, they brought in some portal guys. Now we got the young guys out there, and we got to start playing them. We got to play, like I said, we got to play McCarty. You got to play Jacoby. Go ahead and get the young dudes out there. Let them get physical. Let them ball. So you'll see Eli. You'll see Peyton. Those two together is going to be fun. If Robert Spears Jennings is gone, that's going to suck. I would love for him to stick.
What happened to RSJ?
I mean, he's draft eligible.
Oh.
I don't see him leaving for that.
Yeah, I don't see him. I think he comes back.
But after the season, I mean,
here's the thought.
Depth is real, though, man. That would be the one that I would worry about the least.
That's true.
One question that I have for you, Jay, I asked Jason this yesterday, him and Chris Mason. With what we've seen from Kanai and some of those issues or whatnot, and I think somebody in the comments yesterday said it great. He's great. Well, no, they said it's about this guy. Would you replace him? Would you replace Kanai? Put Woody back over there?
No.
I think Woody can be with guys a lot better than Kanai can, but he's not athletic enough to come down with the ball if it's a 50-50 deal.
Yeah, that's the problem with him. Like, he had a solid game in this one, but yeah, he 50-50s, he's getting cooked. But the problem with Woody is he also not very good at trailing people in the slot. Like, everything that you would expect him to be really good at, the things that looks good on NFL tape, he has not been good at.
You probably should.
I would like, and Jimmy, I like that. I like Kanai safety. Put him up high. He does well high, and just as Chris mentioned, he kind of breaks down his technique when he gets a little too comfortable. Put him out there at safety.
I've been saying this a lot too, though. Is why not have Peyton go play corner as well? We've seen him run with guys and get his head turned around, and he's got the speed. I'd rather see him running with guys. We know
That's
he can
actually
cover.
a good point.
We know he can cover. And if you realize the best Venables defenses, they're kind of positionless.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I just thought that was an interesting point. I was like, man,
That's a good question.
Maybe you put Woody back at corner, let him play something natural. Because both are good in medium yardage, right? 15 yards down, they're really good. And they can be locked down. It's just those explosive plays. In a perfect world, man, and I think me and my uncle, we were talking about this yesterday, like early morning before the game, and I said, man, you know what I sit up and dream about at night, and this is just totally left field, but I said, man, Eli Bone on this side, Gentry Williams on the other side.
I just want Gentry back, man. I want Gentry back so bad, man.
I'm good with it, man. I'm good with it.
Hopefully he had shoulder surgery again and cleaned up everything and he's good to go, because Gentry is prototypical for a day 2 minimum corner in the NFL, dude. He could be day one. He could be day one in his best. So I'm hoping Gentry's back next season, healthy. That's the corner that we miss. That's that dude. He is that dude when his shoulder doesn't hurt. And when he fell on his shoulder in the first game of the season, I was like, crud, I think he's done. Because like, it's literally like immediately he goes and falls on the shoulder that got hurt. They had surgery on. It's like, God, dog it. So hopefully that cleans it up and we're good. But all right, we're going to wrap it up, put a bow on it. We'll dive a little bit more into prepping for Maine. We'll talk about position stuff. Y'all know I got videos and stuff coming down the line. And yeah, we'll talk about Beaton Bow. We'll talk about the positions. We'll talk about the players. I got a lot of stuff to say on that, but I'm still I don't see a reason to fire Beaton Bow. We're rebuilding the recruits that from years past. All right, Jason, let people know where they can find you.
Hall of Fame College Football. It's at HOF-CFB right here on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter sometimes. At AW_HOF. We will be on it in the morning at Rise and Shine College Football. It's at 10:15 Eastern Time. That's 9:15 right here in Oklahoma. So come check us out over there at HOF-CFB.
Chris, let people know where to find you.
Hey, Horns Down Podcast, YouTube, definitely. Chris with _K on the Twitter sphere, X, whatever you guys are calling it now. Definitely come check us out. Hey, thank you guys thank you, Jay, for inviting me, man, to come on to the show. Always love to come on. So for sure, yeah, definitely check us out.
Yeah. And the last thing on here, Chester asked if the OC that's hired and they bring their own staff, would you let Beaton Bow go? Personally, if he's bringing in recruits too, sure. But Beaton Bow's got a lineup over the last 3 years that we're ready to see play. They're all young. Like this is literally
most of the OCs wouldn't even want to do it. I don't even think they would think about it.
Yeah, I actually don't think so. I think most OCs are going to bring in probably a wide receiver or a tight end coach with them, or running back coach. It's usually the ones. Not a lot of them bring their own offensive line coach. They usually go hire a new one. But yeah, we'll see what they do. We'll see if the new OC does it. So definitely not against it. We'll see what happens.
Right.
Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. New to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. Check out Prize Picks. Sign up. Link in the description below. Give you a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Daily Fantasy Sports made easy. And we will chop it up with each and one of y'all in a day or two. Peace.